Hey everyone, I have read your practicum log number 2 and provided feedback in Typhon for you to review. You guys made my job so easy this week. Your logs were super well done. For me, it's really interesting to read all the things that you're doing because so many of you are in an academic setting and probably just under a half are in hospital settings or patient care areas. So I get a really good variety, a sense of what's going on out in industry and in different organizations and how you're approaching your practicum time. As you can tell from behind me, Madeline and Gracie have had their yummies and now are working off their dinner. If they get too disruptive, I'll put them in timeout. And they're gone. Okay, so from a log standpoint, an area of opportunity for many of you is your application section. In that section, you should be connecting your work in the practicum, whatever you and your preceptor did, with the NLN core competencies. You're going to tell me what the competency that you worked on and how your work during that practicum setting was meaningful and connected to that competency. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to connect whatever you did in practicum with prior learning. What knowledge do you have? What information did you come into the setting with that helped you be successful? Maybe it was content in your, if you took Nursing 600 about testing strategies, maybe that was something that you pulled on. Maybe it was a research concept that you got from nursing research course. Maybe it was your, maybe you're working on research related to something from your work setting. The idea is to pull together what I already know as a professional nurse and what I'm learning in my practicum experience and how can I blend them together so that they become meaningful memories or meaningful learned concepts for me. So that's the piece of prior learning. The other piece of it that goes with it is growth and development. So you're going to say, I came into the practicum setting with this information and I experienced this in the practicum setting, and because I knew this, I was more successful, or I found a new way to look at something, and it relates to the NLN core competencies in this way. And in this way, I have grown. Maybe you learned to use a new technology, which would be really cool because that's a topic this week. And you thought, wow, what you learned was, I know more about technology than I've given myself credit for. Maybe what you learned was how to deal with classroom conflict. One of you had a really great discussion in your practicum log about watching your preceptor handle student behaviors in a very direct way. I think it was that oh, forgive me, you know who you are, wrote that you were in the practicum setting and the students had parked in patient parking. And the clinical preceptor said, go move your car. I went like, yes, good for you. Because we're role modeling professionalism. We're holding our students accountable. And in that growth, maybe where you grew was feeling a little bold, feeling empowered that you could set limits, firm limits with your students in a loving, supportive, Christ-centered way that didn't have to harm their heart. Maybe that's what you learned. All of that needs to go into the application section. Ideally, that's just a good paragraph that you concisely express that. This should not be pages and pages and pages of insights. So try to pull all of that together and work towards polishing that section. I think it's the more difficult section because it really does require you to glue all the odds and ends together and say something meaningful versus the self-reflection or the supportive narrative section, which is just what did I do all day and what I think about it. So you can do this. So start thinking through that. Your technology papers were super cool. I always, when I'm reading them, I'm jotting down notes. Sometimes you guys come up with things that I had never heard. Oh, and I have a sticky note with something on it, and now I have to, I hope I can find it. Because one of you came up with something. It was blue something. Study blue? Study blue. I think it was study blue. Things I had never heard of. And I've been around for a little while. So when I get to see things that I didn't hear, so I'm learning too. Sorry, I'm cheating off you. But one of the things that I thought was really cool was how many of you chose to talk about Pinterest. I am very new to the whole Pinterest idea, so I am not being brave in using that in an academic setting, but lots of people are using it. So if anybody gets brave and goes and uses it even after you graduate, send me an email and go, Dr. Hudgens, this is what I've learned. The other one that was used a lot was Dropbox. I live in the world of Dropbox. So if that was not one that you chose, Dropbox is a fantastic cloud storage and file sharing resource. It's free to the first, I think it's 2 gigabytes. The great thing is there's an online resource that you can go into your files anywhere you have internet access. The other thing you can do is you can download the app on any of your devices and you have access all the time to your files, as long as the app is downloaded. The great thing is if you have the app and it's synced, if you have no internet access, like the power goes out, you can still access your files if the app is on your device. So I have been in all sorts of crazy places and had to go into Dropbox, find a file, and send it by email all on my phone. So if you haven't used it, think about it. It's a great tool. From an APA standpoint, please, please, please practice using headings. Let me tell you what this looks like. Level 1 headings are treated like a chapter. When you put your level 1 heading, your level 1 heading will go at the top of the page, and then you're going to give a paragraph of what's in the body of that paper. Your first level 1 is the beginning of the paper. Then the body, that first paragraph is, and this is what the paper is about. It's your paper introduction. Whether you choose to do another level 1 heading or a level 2 is entirely up to you. But that jumping off point sets you up for the first paper. So let's assume that you do, it's a 5 to 6 page paper. So your first paragraph is, and this is what the paper is about. I personally would shift to a level 2 heading. And then I'm going to write, and this is what this section's about, 3 to 5 meaningful sentences that say, in this section, blah, 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 blah. If it's a complex topic, I'm going to go right under that paragraph and I'm going to do subheadings in level 3. Very rarely are you going to use level 4, but know that if you do, level 4s go under level 3s. You want to always avoid 2 headings sitting next to each other. So you don't want to do a level 1 and then do right next to it a level 2 with nothing in between them. Think about it as a sandwich. You should always be saying what's in this section before you go into the next section. Super AP gurus will tell you that you should not have, if you're going to use a level 3 heading, you should have at least 2 level 3 headings that would fit under your level 2. I'm not going to be that neurotic. I honestly don't know anybody that's that neurotic aside from professional editors. Just know that that's out there. So if you had one of those papers and you're like, all right, Dr. Hudgens, I've heard enough about your level headings, ba-bam, here is an overview. Here is an introduction, and you see me put a red line through it. That's not because I don't love you, and it's not because I don't want you to tell me that it's an introduction, but APA assumes that an introductory paragraph to a section is exactly that. It's an overview. It's an introduction. Don't tell me what I already know. So you don't need that heading that says, and this is an overview, and this is a summary. You want to go right into the meat and potatoes and only use level headings as they subdivide under content. Okay. Truly practice on this. You got to get this because you can't graduate it without it. And I know that because I teach 620 and you're going to see me again and I'm going to say to you, I know you heard about level headings because I told you. Practice it, guys. It will organize your writing. It will help crisp up your thinking because you'll be able to say, this is what's in this paragraph. I know it because there's my title and I've integrated it. So use that as a professional writing skill. Okay, next week, you have, I have no idea. Oh, teaching plan. Okay, your teaching plan is about service learning. First, know that service learning is not just going and doing a service project. Service learning is taking an academic concept and embedding a service project in it. So, you work on a cardiovascular unit in the hospital and you have its Heart Awareness Month. So a service learning project that would be appropriate in the hospital-based setting would be education to about heart health for women or heart health over 60 or heart health under 20, whatever. But your concept is going to be, you're going to educate your staff nurses. Maybe you can do that in a huddle. Maybe you do that in a staff meeting. Okay, this is Heart Awareness Month. And this is the key concepts that we know are important to our population. And our service learning project is going to be, we're going to do blood pressure screenings for any woman that walks into our lobby. And that's our service learning component. So we're going to reinforce our knowledge as professional cardiovascular nurses by remembering what we're doing, knowing the parameters for blood pressure monitoring, and we're going to serve our hospital-based community in the lobby. That's a very simplistic way of looking at a valuable service learning project. In the academic setting, you can talk about service learning as a concept, especially if you're introducing a fundamentals course where you're dealing with younger students who really don't understand the value of community-based. You can see the dog over my left shoulder is clearly getting comfortable in my chair. Let me see if I can scoot. Nope. And there she is. She's been at doggy daycare today, so clearly she's feeling her oats. Okay. Academic setting. So you could approach this as an introduction to the concepts of service learning. So let's just say you have a group of students that you know are going to be new to the program, and you want them to understand that part of your mission and vision in your nursing program is service learning, so you're going to introduce the topic. Let's say you're teaching a OB course and one of the course modules is supporting new moms with breastfeeding. So you're going to give content related to breastfeeding, and you're going to tuck in a service learning project that you're going to go into the lactation consultant wing in the hospital where they have all their people, and you're going to have you're going to be there providing pamphlets and literature to people who are there wanting additional support for breastfeeding. Think about it critically. Spend some time jotting some notes down. Really think about. Make it direct, so you don't want to do like this huge major health fair. Try to just, the important thing about this is for you to understand service learning. Get that concept clear, use your book for clarification, and then move forward with planning. Whatever you do, whether you're a hospital-based nurse or whether you're in an academic setting, make it appropriate to your population, okay? It's all got to connect. Use the feedback that came from your prior teaching plan to apply to this setting so that you get all the little details correct, and then you'll be able to move forward. The other thing to remember, if your first teaching plan, you did it, and then you're starting to realize that week 8 that Dr. Hudgens told you was coming is now going to be next week, and you're going to have to do something with your teaching, and you realize that your general teaching plan may not be fabulous for actually doing, craft a teaching plan this week that you can actually do next week, okay? Plan it accordingly. Kind of protect yourself if you're in that bucket of, I can't do that one because either it was really more complicated than I intended it to be, it's too long, I don't know what to do with it. You can always use your service learning one for next week's video presentation of your work. Okay, I think I'm done. And clearly I'm done because the dogs are outside barking. Ask the professor link for general questions that are where do I find, what can I do, kinds of things. Personal things related to your grade, your own personal experience, personal questions that don't apply to other people, always feel free to email me. I feel like there's something else I was supposed to say, but I have no idea what it was. Okay, I'll email you. Let me know how you are. Know that I am praying for you. I know you are tired. Many of you are moms and dads, and you are, actually, I don't think there's any dads in this class. Nope, no dads. Lots of you are moms. This is the time where school starts to wrap up for your little ones, and everybody is starting to get spring fever, and we are all ready to just be done. Hang in there, guys. God did not bring you this far to not see you through this. Rest in his arms and his grace and his comfort. He has got you. You're going to be okay. Touch base with questions. Know that I'm here. Know that I'm praying for you. Have a fabulous rest of your week. Take care.